right, everybody. Hello. We're at Sunday evening now, and ceiling fan is going. So I want to first of all stop my fan from ticking. Okay. So I want to share with you guys. I was going through a little project here at home, and the way to find the path to what's going on is we have to go in history and really figure out what happened in the garden, what happened in the beginning, because it will really unplug us from the mystery of why are we here. So I'll show you guys what I was doing. It's all over the place. It's a lot of chicken scratch, but if you guys can take from my lead and follow your own, if this is kind of like your avenue of figuring things out with the past and what's coming back, I have a lot of confirmation that something's coming back to get their bloodline, and something else is coming back to collect those who understand what's going on. So it's a very crazy. So if you had, let's just say, mother and or scientist and they created the ultimate person, because they are not created from the same original source, but here on Earth there is an origin, there is a magnetism, a quantum, blah blah and blah. Let's just say if there was creation of the earth here by the Father was creation. The Father wasn't a being, he was just creation. So you have these two, bird and serpent, who left origin, could be heaven or whatever it is. You have creator who created this kingdom, this place, this quiet place, casted everything down in order to make them better, for instance. I don't know. So then you have these people who were engineered, and once they started developing consciousness, this made the scientist and the mother invested. It made them go, ooh, let's create more and create more and create more and create more, so that way we can find the way to understand how to hijack. So all this bloodline over and over of these two, let's just say in Leoninki, right? These two creating bloodlines through Earth, seeding with the man of the earth that was already here, trying to create new and hybrid like humans with this bloodline, who basically own everything, run everything, have all the money in the world. They've been here already. They're multiplying over and over and over and over and over. How did this start? Actually, let's just jump right to the conclusion. There's only one way to stop all this from happening, and it was the consciousness of Christ himself. It was the only way to ascend us to the mindset, the consciousness of understanding that Something was already multiplying and happening, thus by these two that wasn't by this from the very beginning. So if we go to the divine masculine, sorry, not divine, we have the masculine, Inky, we have the feminine, Enlil. So let's break them down. All these different names, I kind of narrowed them down to who was just this one being. So the serpent, the garden, I think we already know. Yahweh was the serpent. He was also known as Saturn. People idolize Saturn as the sun because it gave behavior to the earth. So maybe perhaps in some time ago there was earth and Saturn was the sun because the sun was it was illuminating. And then you have Enlil, which was the sun, which was an incarnate of, right? So then you have next Adam being the engineered version of the serpent. Okay, because this was the start. Then you have Eve, which was she was taken out of the serpent. So you have this manipulation of, or the start of trying to create Osiris and Isis, the king and queen. So because they were casted out, they already had a bloodline of Enlil and Enki and had to be immersed into a greater something else. I made a boo-boo. I knew how to spell. But if you have Is, Ra, and El, Ra, El, even here, En, Lil, Ra, that was his territory. I ran, which was the garden. This is where the garden is, if you guys didn't know that. Somewhere. Moving down the line, Thoth, which was also known as Hermes. I also put the angel Gabriel because there's connections to these two. The messenger. And Gabriel was an archon angel. Archon means they were casted out. We're following this here. The influences of these people through the mind, which was Moses, Noah. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to put Zeus was also in here too. So if we were to say Enlil was the sky god, we can connect him to Zeus. Because the serpent was the land, the ocean. Poseidon wasn't in here, was he? I cannot spell Poseidon. Somebody's upstairs. This always happens when I am making a point. Okay, so if we're going down the line of divine, which was the spirit field of the Father, you had the institution of Egypt, which was the beginning. You had these two corruptions of creating these beings trying to get into this here. And then, lo and behold, there was success from Enlil because of stealing a child, raising a child. And there's a connection to Hermes and Ramses. Is that ES? Oh, crap, I forget. But you know Ramses. Ramses the Pharaoh was the same Pharaoh during the Moses story. It's the same person. Ramses was a seed of the serpent. Yep. And you guys know that Moses had a staff which was turned into a serpent, right? To scare off Ramses. So there was a battle between serpent and eagle to begin with. Moses gained consciousness and wanted out, so he left. Same with Enoch. He had all these knowledge, wisdom and access and all this stuff. I actually connected Thoth to Enoch because it's a descendant of Noah. Noah was a descendant of Adam and Eve. If you guys are following me, I told you there's a lot of chicken scratch. Then you had people who fled from Israel because of the corruption. And thus you had Storytell in India. So there was the story, Buddhism and Hinduism, which their stories really come out of the storytells from those who were part of the 12 disciples who followed Jesus. So these two emerged after the crucifixion, if that makes any sense. Then so on and so forth. Roman Empire dominates. Roman Empire takes over. You have natives. This is the Mayan calendar, which took us to 2012. And 2005, if you guys follow Naughty Beaver, he had he found a historian, a researcher who had a theory on 2005. So for 13 years, these two had already came back. And if you guys can go back to 2005, your actions, behavior, and what happened, and you saw from 2005 to 2012, so yeah, 2013. That was that 8 years? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was 7 years. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That was 8. It was 8. I was right. So there was no coincidence upon their return waking us up within 8 years. 8 is infinity, omega. It was all planned. 2018, we're here. So where we go from now, just being aware of what occurred, being aware that the past was really just about creating a roster of